Hello, welcome. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be recording my prep for my campaign of Scum and Villainy. The first episode should already be posted, and this should follow it shortly. In the past, my RPG prep, because I generally only play Powered by the Apocalypse games, is not really anything formalized. And this is an effort to make it a little more formalized, get a little more down on paper, because in the past, it's generally been more of a loosey-goosey, maybe I'll remember to do this, maybe I won't. And I want to try something a little bit different. So, if you are my players, stop watching this right now, because spoilers. But I'm hoping to be able to come back to this myself at later dates and, learn from all my terrible, terrible mistakes. So a quick post-mortem of what's happened so far is the first session that was recorded was not actually our first session because recording software ate it. That was fun. But hey, that happens sometimes. That said, it took a while to sort of suss out both the characters and teach the game because, my buddies are busy adults and they can't read a 300-page rulebook every time I get a wild hair up my ass to run a new game. And that's fine. I know they've already started reading it and starting to figure it out a little more, so that's good. That's all I can ask. But yeah, that bogged down a lot of the first session, and then we leapt right into the starting adventure for the Cerberus, or starting job for the Cerberus, which I recapped. As for how the session itself went, again, there was a lot more explaining how it works, because the first time running through it. My hope is that in future sessions it can go a lot faster, and, maybe we can even get through 2 jobs, so I might have to, plan a second job during this prep. I don't think I'm going to have to do that for our next session. Our next session is probably not going to be a super long one, just because, holiday commitments and all that. So, to start off with, I'm going to break down what the next job's going to be. So the next job, they're looking to spring a prisoner at the behest of their Cult of the Seekers contact. Her name was Layla. And she had promised them pay for the job and 4 cred for turning over their Urbot Anna. And I want to do my humming and hawing and being unable to think up a fucking name to save my life here, so that I'm not doing it during the actual session like what happened last time. So Layla, let's go with Efara. Layla Efara, contact with Church of the Seekers. She'll be a low-level operative. And the handler for our particular group. So, Layla has asked them to rescue someone. I didn't specify the someone, but the someone's going to be an Urbot specialist, and they need him to basically figure out what's going on with Anna. They know Anna's special. In my mind, what I decided was the reason Anna acts like a child, despite, having been around for a very long time and not having their memory wiped by the Guild of Engineers, is that there's some other data on the hard drive that's preventing her from learning new things. An incredible amount of data. And the Cult of the Seekers thinks that it is something that can help them open the dormant gate in the Holt system. Or they're hoping. And they might be right. I don't know. We're going to play to find out. But that's the deal with Anna right now. I thought I was going to be dropping clues to Mike's character Lyndon when he did his attune, but that went very badly for him, so he didn't learn shit. So our engineer is going to be, let's see he's why would so he's captured by the 51st Legion. It's Governor Malclaith, and he's fucking with the Cult of the Seekers to tweak the hegemon. No, I don't think that's enough. I think this engineer's got to be from the Guild of Engineers, and he stole something on the way out. And they're pissed at him, and that's why the 51st Legion brought him in. Or no. No, I think I can just make it, the antagonist I want to set up for this is the Church of the Sacred Flame. Crazy religious zealots that want to burn down all the cool shit is nice, easy antagonist. But I want to set them up as the people who originally put out the hit on Anna, and they want to see that whatever the Church of the Seekers is doing gets done. And I think the reason that our other errant faction here, Conclave 01, got brought into it is Cho brought them in. He contacted them. They didn't know shit about Anna, and they're just treating her as another Urbot until they learn otherwise. If they learn otherwise, I don't know what'll happen. But I think that they are still interested in that. So, yeah, so let's say 51st Legion brought in our engineer, captured him to hand over to the Church of the Sacred Flame. And that can sort of be a sort of backwards in for our players if they're going to do what I think they're going to do, which is where they try to fake a prisoner transfer. The 51st Legion will already be expecting a prisoner transfer, so they just have to play along and have the right credentials for that. So, our engineer's name is Giles. Something nerdy as fuck. Mortimer. Giles Mortimer. He will have come from the Guild of Engineers. Yeah, former. U-Bot. Nope. So he's their rescue target. And so I think the job itself is going to be racing clocks. It's going to be one clock for the Legion Suspicion, and one clock for prisoner exchange, or what do I want to call that? Prisoner exchange. So getting their hands on him, getting him out of whatever cell he's in, and with them. From there, they might still need to race that clock out, but I'm thinking like it'll be one test. If they get to that point, just because make it exciting. Because depending on when the Legion Suspicion clock fills, if it fills early, they're going to have to blast their way in or do something. Even if it means scrubbing the job, I don't know. But they'll have to do something, because once that happens, a Legion patrol craft will be on an intercept course. And I think it'd be kind of cool if they blow it right at the end, which is why I want to have maybe one or two tests after they get the prisoner, just to see if we can also trip that suspicion clock, and have a good chase. And I'll kind of get to why, because I'm going to talk about each of the characters and what I see as things I need to do for them. So there's going to be a Legion Suspicion Clock and Prisoner Handover. And I think these are both going to be 8 clocks. No, I want to make these 6 clocks. I want this to be fast and tense. I don't want to have them like screwing around, spinning tall tales, making tests over and over and over. I think if they have, with a 6 clock, that's 2 good tests to make progress on that. It's too much for them to get it with 1 crit if they get lucky right off the bat, but like 2 solid tests right from the beginning, and that's going to put the prisoner in their hands. And then from there, they can maybe have to deal with a little more back-end talk as the guards want to shoot the shit with them now that they're happy and satisfied that they're handing over a prisoner. So I think, yeah, and so it'll be a Legion Patrol Corvette. If it happens, I want to say, just so I know the magnitude on these, if I make it engines 2, that means they will have potency over the craft in getting away. I might have to depend. I think what getting away looks like is it's going to be based on how long they have to wait before they can take off. If they got to blast their way through, the Legion Patrol Craft's going to be on top of them when they're making their escape. I don't know, I can probably just hand wave it and say, hey, here's the deal, you're being pursued by patrol craft. And that'll take 1 or 2 good helm tests from our pilot, and maybe give us a chance to do some damage to the ship and make it a closer scrape than they might want it to be. So that's one way it can go, is at some point the suspicion clock gets tripped and either they're shooting it their way in, or they just have to book it from the end, or I don't know. But I don't want to, if everything goes perfectly, I don't see a reason to force them into a spaceship chase. I kind of want to say, if you guys just pull this off perfectly, you pull it off perfectly. You walk out of there with the guy. Assuming that's their plan. I don't know what their plan is. Deceptions they're in here. How they want to go from there is up to them. Because with the engagement roll they got, risky position, they're going to get to dock, but they're going to be met by guards with questions. So how they handle it from there is, we'll see. We'll see what they do. So the other things I want to think about are, well, how do I complicate this a little bit? And one of the things I want to make sure I start working in is the rivals for my crew. So Lyndon's got a fellow mystic who's his rival. Well, apparently he's got 2 friends. Weird. Choss I don't think is going to fit in here. Pax's pro racer rival. Dr. Carey is Tyrion's rival, but I think Albin, the former patient of Emmett, is going to be this station commander. So we'll say he's in the 51st Legion. Call him, let's see, Albin. And this is Not sure I spelled that right, and I don't care. So let's see. I want to add an extra detail. I want to make sure I've got certain things set up, like the place they're going is going to be Patrol Station. Thanks, autocorrect. Patrol. Okay, great. 1338. That's generic enough that they're not going to feel like this is a big deal, but still communicate that it's a military installation, and there's going to be some dangerous consequences if things go really sideways. So yeah, I think I like that. As for, I also want to think about what is going to happen after they succeed. So if they succeed at this job, they get Giles back to Layla, and at that point Layla's going to ask that they hand over Anna. And Anna will not fight them. She will do whatever she's told. If the characters want to be involved in what happens to Anna, they can be. Layla said that they could be involved if they pulled the job, so I want to give them a chance. I want to have Layla potentially give them another job. And I think we would want it to be based off of data that they get out of Anna. So she would offer them a job to do something. I also want to have ideas. I want to be able to work in the other factions as well. I want to name drop the Church of the Sacred Flame. That they're the ones that had the 51st Legion capture Giles. I don't know that I want to I don't want to give away that they're the ones who tried to kill Anna. I was kind of curious that the PCs didn't want to talk to Cho more before they handed him over to the Ashen Knives. Figured maybe they would try to weasel some information out of him, learn more about his contacts or something. Oh, and I want the Conclave 01 to be working on something. Like they don't, or at least their contact does not want to let Anna go without some sort of fight. So I don't know if they would hire a local gang to do something, but it's something that I have to have at the ready. I think maybe I would have them tapped to do something based on what the entanglement is after we do the payoff. Like if there's an entanglement, it's Conclave 01 doing it. So I don't want to think too far ahead with these factions. I want the ones that are involved in this to have like immediate goals. But I don't want to do the make a clock for every faction that the rulebook suggests. In part because I'm a lazy sack of crap and a bad GM, but mostly because that's too big. It's like half of these factions, the Night Speakers, the Mendicants, the Maelstrom, the characters haven't even interacted with them yet. Like, if the characters didn't read the rulebook, they wouldn't even know who the fuck they are. And that's a real thing, and that's not bad. It's just sucks. I should also have something in mind for the Church of the Sacred Flame to try and hit back too. So that'd be competing on the entanglement. Maybe what I'll do is I'll tell them that Cho's communicator is going off like crazy, asking for updates or something. And then Alice wants to get back in contact. And Sacred Flame wants to know who keeps fucking their shit up. Sacred Flame wants answers. They want to know who's shitting in their Cheerios. And so now that I think about it, that would be the entanglement. If there's any entanglement, it's the Church of the Sacred Flame doing something. And I think they can just... I don't think they need to be complicated villains. I think it can be... They want to destroy Anna because she's an out-of-the-ordinary or artifact that's dangerous. So that's entirely within their purging zealot mindset that they'd want to destroy her. So I think it's fine for them to be one-dimensional villains. They can take on multiple dimensions if they actually get some screen time here, but in the background, they're the ones that are trying to make things happen. And once they come to the forefront, we can characterize them a little better. So I want to prepare 2 possible job ideas. I want to prepare one that's specifically if they keep working for the Cult of the Seekers. Because if they do another job for the Cult of the Seekers, that'll be 2 in a row, and that's the catalyst for them to increase in rank from +1 to +2 with them in favor. So I want to have a job for them to do. So it'll be something like going... So it's got to have something to do that comes organically out of Anna. So either it's they got information that they can act on. You have to go to a place and do a thing. And maybe this can be something that's out of the ordinary for the crew. It's not an extraction of some sort. It can be like searching for an artifact, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe it can be Giles doesn't have enough equipment to make sense of the huge amount of data that Anna has. And so he needs something stolen. And so that'd be more of a heist, which is also outside of the crew's sort of central imperative. But I think that's okay. I think if they're getting in with a faction, it's going to push them in a different direction. It's either a heist or an artifact hunt. And maybe I can just... I don't even need to know. I can just say, we've got these 2 leads. We need help with them. Which do you want to do? And let them decide. And if they say, well, that's not the sort of thing we do, they can go, okay, I guess. Sorry. And then the crew can go looking for another job. I also want to be prepared. What if there is another job? Or what if they want another job? They don't want to bite on the Seekers. And, maybe they don't bite on the Seekers, but then they talk to Alice from Conclave 01. Well, Alice is going to want Anna back, so maybe after getting paid to drop her off, Alice might try to entice them to kidnap her back. Which would be interesting. I'd love to see how the characters react to that. I think Pax would fucking love it. He'd be like, this is awesome. We already have an inn. We don't even have to work hard. Easy money, easy payday. And everybody else is going to be like, So I think that'll be fun. So, yeah. jobbing. We'll offer kidnap job if there is nothing else. And I think if they don't bite on that, there needs to be a last-ditch option. And I think for that, it would be something with the maelstrom. So if they decide, I don't like this Anna business, this isn't what I'm interested in, the next obvious source of a job would be the maelstrom. It might be fun to get them to play around with pirates. So I think it would be some sort of space-based kidnapping. Like some rogue maelstrom captain broke the laws, killed somebody aboard the Cove, and now they want you to bring him down. And he's out in space somewhere. Find his ship. So, like, track and then get in there. And I'm also going to be curious to see, like, do they start any long-term projects here? Like, do they want to do their own research into Anna? Do they want to find out who's trying to kill Anna? Like, if I drop that hint about the Church of the Sacred Flame, then maybe that's something they want to follow up on independently. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think that's going to affect things. And because I can't spell. We'll call it Deep Space Kidnap. So that's my planning for the jobs, and I think this will be a reasonably short job. I don't want it to be dragged out. I think that's sort of counter to the idea of the game. Is like part of this is my inexperience with it. I haven't really done any Blades in the Dark stuff, so I don't know how long a job should be. But I'm always wondering. I think short and sweet works. A simple series of tests to fill up a clock, and then you're either done or you're in trouble. It also lets me make the consequences of each individual test matter a lot. So, yeah, I'm going to have to play around with it, get some more experience, but I think that'll be good. So the other thing I want to think about is not just how can I use these rivals, which I think is fun, but how do I engage each player with the playbook they chose to let them get the most out of it. So far I've got the best read on Chris playing Pax. He's the reckless pilot, and Chris is leaning really hard into this. He's got a bad drug habit. He has few to no morals, and he just wants to get paid. Which is, it sounds one-dimensional, but it's actually really good here because the rest of the crew is very circumspect, very stopping and thinking carefully about this. And it's nice to have that character pushing them to, fuck it, let's just do it, let's go, let's get paid. And that's definitely not a bad thing. I do want to see if I can find a line that he's not willing to cross. The thing with Anna tells him he doesn't really give a shit about Urbots, but that doesn't mean he like hates kids or something, because she's not really a kid. I'll let you decide on that one, but I don't think him being willing to fork her over for extra cash is indicative of anything. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think I want to introduce his rival soon. Is there a way to get a pro racer character in on any of these jobs that I've lined up. The only one that jumps out as a possibility is if they veer hard away from their current course and take the Maelstrom job. I think Chos can be the pilot of the ship they're going to have to try and get onto, and that'll make it challenging, or at least give it some catalyst. So I think I got to do that because I want to tease a little bit more out of Pax and make him a little more three-dimensional. Lyndon is very interesting. He had this idea that his vice is an spirit voice in his head tells him to do things, and he feels compelled to do them. And that's pretty cool. It means I just get to nudge him in certain ways, or, if things are getting too quiet, I can just fuck his shit up, which I love. As a GM, that's one of the best things. It's just fucking their shit up. So I want to find a way to, and I don't want to have him lashed to Anna. I don't want to have the Spirit tell him, you really need to do something with Anna, because then if the rest of the crew wants to pull away from that thread, I don't want him hanging on for dear life, because that's what his character feels like it needs to do. So maybe I can use that as a lever to let him to let go of certain things, but I think there'll be a lag time. Like, if he decides the Spirit really wants him to go with Anna, next session he might really dig in his heels and say, yeah, I really want to do this. We're not doing something else. And then, I don't know. It would be too slow as a way to nudge him one way or the other. So I think I just got to let that play out. I don't want to use the Earth Spirit for that. I do need to make sure that I don't use the Earth Spirit to say, hey, go do this, and then that decides his entire arc for him. Mike's a long-time D&D player where it's the very top-down GM makes a world, he builds a quest path for you, and if you deviate from the quest path too much, you're kind of not playing the right game. You're kind of fucking it up. So he's very ready to find the path the GM sets out for him and follow it. And I don't want him to feel obligated to do that at all. So I need to be careful about how I handle that. But I do want to have a chance to throw more weird shit at him. That's why I might even just say, like, of the two jobs that they could potentially get, the heist or the artifact hunt, I think I might just say no to the heist. Just as a way of, yeah, I'm just going to say no to the heist. It's going to be artifact hunt, and that's going to let him do some weird way shit. And I think, let's see. Yeah. So I will just make that straight up an artifact hunt. That's the job. If they don't like it, they can fuck off and go. They can find work somewhere else, and maybe check in with Sacred Flame later, or the Seekers later. Tyrion. Tyrion's definitely fun. I just want to make sure that since this is not a combat-heavy party, this is much more of a talky party. I don't want him to hog too much of the spotlight, because he is so much better at the talky than, well, they're actually all pretty decent at talking in some way or another, but Tyrion's sort of got all the angles covered. I want to, and that's another thing that would be nice about an artifact hunt is, like, there's not gonna be a lot to talk to. You're gonna have to flex some other muscles. If you're going into a dank cave, not talking to the stalactites. I do want to twist the poverty line knife here a little bit. he's got this, oh, I'm so dressed to the nines, everything's excellent, I'm so rich. But he's not rich. He's playing at being rich. His money's fucking gone. It's all tied up in a ship. And he needs to... Yeah, I think I want to find opportunities to remind him that while he can walk the walk and talk the talk, he can't write the checks. So that's what's going to be interesting. Maybe this long-term project he's on, where he's working at building up aristocratic connections, is a good chance to do that. Like, he'll get invited to a party, and he'll have the option of, do you want to spend some cred to get some new duds, get the drip on, and that's going to be a hard choice because he doesn't have a lot of money. And I think if he cheaps out, it's gonna hurt the project, or maybe even take it like a completely different direction. And maybe that would be a turning point for the character. But I think that's a good opportunity to see, well, just how committed are you to hobnobbing? Like, are you trying to get back to that? Do you regret this little adventure you're on? So I think that would be fun. But yeah, I think he's definitely going to take center stage on this next heist, because, you know, he gets a uniform, he's got all the skills to yell at somebody, consort with somebody, sway somebody. He's going to have the tools. I think I'm going to have to make sure that it costs them something. I think it's going to be, I'm going to double check acquire assets. So I'd make a note to myself. And I still can't spell. So before the job, I need to double check how acquire assets works, because they're definitely going to want those uniforms, and I'm going to have to engage the mechanics to say, okay, this is a tier 3 organization, or is it tier 4? I'll have to check. They're a reasonably high tier organization. So getting authentic uniforms is actually going to be difficult if that's what they want to do, because that's what they were saying in the beginning. Like, they were trying to squeeze that into the planning, and I had to go, no, the mechanics say we don't do this now, we do it during the job with a flashback. So I will make sure I double check that before the next one. And our last character, Emmett, is... he's I'm not sure what Emmett's deal is. And I'm hoping I can tease that out of Matt. I just don't know how. So that's part of the reason I wanted to include Albin, his former patient, because that'll give me an opportunity to say, oh, you instantly recognize Albin. What happened last time you guys met? And we'll suss out who he is, and the nature of their rivalry. And I will insist that they be rivals. This is not, oh, you're frenemies. It's, this guy fucking hates you for some reason. He's not going to be happy to see you, and that's going to be a complication on getting out of there and getting the job done. So, but I also want to use that as a chance to pin Emmett down a little bit, because he's too much of a wanderer. He's too much of a question mark. I thought he was going to start doing that whole moral compass of the crew thing with the discussions around Anna, and he sort of walked away from it. Like, it was sort of a protest, but at the same time, it wasn't a hard protest. He didn't dig in his heels. I think that, like, I'm a shitty GM with not a ton of GMing experience, but I think that's sort of a failing of this playbook, is that it wants to be set up as sort of a moral compass character. I mean, they even have this move right here. But I feel like that's too weak of a concept. It doesn't come through. I'm worried this playbook is actually just kind of not good. Like, you really just wanted the Doctor character. You really just wanted to be the Doctor from Firefly. Okay, well, we've got a playbook for you. But no, I mean, it's an opportunity to be a scientist too. So maybe that's something I need to push. Is if we end up on an artifact heist somewhere, it's like, yeah, you can use Attune. You could also use Doctor and science the shit out of it. He's got Doctor and Study, so I think maybe Matt's leaning into the idea that he's very perceptive, that he's going to use Study to pick out all these details and decide how to act based on that. But I don't know. So I want to use Albin as a chance to get him to flesh out his backstory and his motivations more than anything. Because I haven't been able to pin that down. I do want to see his vice after the next job. Cooking as a vice is interesting. I definitely want to see what it looks like in general, but I would love to have him actually accidentally overindulge and do something stupid, and I'm gonna make him tell me what stupid thing it was, because that will be fun. I should think about other vices too. Pax's was very simple and straightforward, drugs. But the fact that he chose to steal some meds from Emmett instantly made it more interesting. So that was fun having it play out that way. And if you're curious, the fortune roll I had him do, if it was a 1 through 3, he was going to have a some sort of negative harm on him, probably just level 1, of like being groggy or out of it or something, for the next mission as a result of getting his cocktail spiked there. And if he got a 6, I'd be compelled to give him some sort of bonus, like he accidentally slipped some stimulants in there and he's buzzing high. I don't know, but that was the idea, and so the fact that he rolled a 4-5 meant, well, just it's a bit of a wash. Didn't go how you planned, but no negative effects either. But I did like that interaction. That interaction was fun. And it also, and maybe that tells me something about Emmett too. Is that like he didn't use any sort of direct confrontation to handle that. It was, I'm just gonna set him up to steal some drugs that I've doctored a bit to mess with him. Bit of a trickster angle there. So yeah. My struggle is just I'm still trying to figure out what each of the characters' choice of playbook and the choices they've made so far tells me about what they want to get out of this. And I'm having a hard time reading that. And I'm hoping I can suss that out in the future. Like, Mike, he's obviously interested in way stuff. You don't pick a mystic if you're not. So he definitely wants to explore that stuff. So I'm happy to provide those opportunities. I just I don't know what that means because I'm too bad at this. I suck at this shit. But I hope to figure it out. Pax, you want to go fast, I assume. Fast living's obviously built into this character. Flying fast, drugs, poor decision making, poor impulse control, seeming inability to plan ahead, or just, well, he takes risks. So I think I just wanted to give him an opportunity to see how he bounces back from a risk that he took. One of those, it was a calculated risk, but man, am I bad at math type situations, and see if that gets him to reevaluate anything. But we'll see. Tyrion, Liam's interested in playing out this noble angle. He wants to see what that's gonna do in like a seedy crime den, like being this obvious like flaunting rich kid. who's slumming it with all these weirdos. So I think I just want to give him a lot of opportunities to do different things to see. I don't know. Maybe that's a cop-out. That's probably a cop-out. I'm going to cop-out, though, because, as I said, I'm shitty at this. And Emmett. So I don't know what... And this is why I was having trouble figuring out, like, what do I want to do with Emmett? Because I just don't know what he wants, what Matt wants out of this character. Like, you pick a doctor, you assume part of the allure is getting to help people that are hurt. Oh, that was an idea I had. So, Giles is fucked up. If they get him out, they will find that 51st Legion beat the shit out of him. They tuned his ass up. If they're friendly with the 51st Legion when they spring him, they'll brag about how, yeah, we tuned him up for you so you can play good cop to our bad cop. He didn't say anything. Ooh, and that was another thought I had. So they will, our guy, Lieutenant Albin, will say that Giles didn't say anything, but that's a lie, and if Tyrion hears it, he will know that it's a lie. So Giles will have told the 51st Legion something, which means the 51st Legion will tell the Church of the Sacred Flame. Alright, so Giles is beat up. Alben is there. He will say that Giles gave them nothing, but that is a lie. So just a couple little details, and if I can work them in, they'll be good. It'll imply something bigger, and maybe it'll help me figure out what the fuck the Sacred Flame are going to be doing. Because I want to have them work their way in organically, not super hard and fast here. I don't want them to just drop some major assassins on our boys and without any introduction, without any expectation that that's what was going to happen. So, yeah. And maybe that'll give them something to figure out later. Is like, well, if Giles did give up some information, maybe we can figure out what he gave up. Maybe we can hack their comms or pay somebody off. So yeah, that'll be another little hook for them to follow if they want to do like a long-term project or something. And that could help bring the Sacred Flame from the background to the foreground. Because as of right now, I have no way of easily introducing them, so I'm going to keep it as is. And this is just going to be... They want answers in the background. Okay. So I think that's covering my prep. Hopefully, holiday fun times don't get in the way of our RPG fun times, and we can go from there, and I can do another one of these after the next session. But yeah, I think taking the time to do this really helped me, like, just have a good hard thonk on all this, and, like, all those little ideas, like, oh, Alban's gonna say Giles gave him nothing, but he's lying, like, those are all ideas I thought up at some point, and then they just fucking fell out of my head. And without taking the time to do this, I might not have got them back. Like, I barely remembered over the 50 minutes that this has been so far. Jesus. But yeah, so hopefully this continues to be good. I will see y'all next time.